Hi, everyone. So I'd like to share another dream I had, which was last night. So I'm doing a lot of dream videos here. So this was another AI dream, and this was quite different to the last AI dream about the little boy. I should be able to remember this one pretty clearly because it was just last night. So I'm going to talk about it. So in this dream, I was with a friend. I don't know who the friend was. I didn't register. It was just me and her. We went into this shop to purchase a phone, a mobile phone, a cell phone, smartphone for her. This was a new phone that had just come out, and this phone was an AI phone. So we're discussing here science fiction, just like in a novel, and dreams and all that sort of thing. This was a AI phone. The whole phone was run by AI. I know that sounds crazy because phones are run by AI anyway. But like with the phone we have now, it's like a mini computer, and if it's an iPhone, you've got Siri, and if it's Android, you've got Alexa. I don't have, well, I mean, obviously they're built into devices, but I don't use those things, Alexa or Siri. However, this particular phone, the whole thing was run by an AI. So it was like Siri or Alexa running the whole phone, but it was more advanced than Siri. It was more advanced than Alexa. It was like a little person in the phone. So I know now you can say things like, please, can you ring so and so, call so and so, or find me this website. You could do all that, but it was faster. The AI would talk back to you. You could have a conversation with it. It was like a little person, little AI person in your phone, and it was big, and everybody wanted one. So, well, not everybody, but lots of people wanted these phones. So we went into this shop to purchase the phone. My friend was a bit nervous, so I said I would go through the motions and purchase the phone for her. I personally wasn't buying one for me. So I remember speaking to the shopkeeper, and he the cashier, and he said, oh, you need to purchase the phone as a system. And he said, you need an AI system to purchase the phone. You can't have the phone on its own. It has to be part of an AI system. So I said, can you explain to me what you mean by an AI system? And he said, well, you need to have something else in your house or on your person or around you that connects with the AI in order for it to converse together or bounce a signal off each other or whatever it was that it was doing. You couldn't just have it on its own. It had to have another thing to connect to. And I said, well, like what? And he was saying appliances like washing machines and tumble dryers and fridges. I said, no, I haven't got anything like that. I've just got normal appliances, which is true. I don't have any AI appliances. And then he said, well, you could have a dog. And he pointed to this little dog, which was kind of like a cross between a cocker spaniel and something else. Very, very sweet. I never would have dreamed that it was AI. So in my last dream, it was a little boy. This time it's a dog. And it was kind of a red, my color. And I looked at this sweet little dog and I said, that's an AI dog. He said, yes. And I said, oh, okay. But I didn't have any desire to have an AI dog. I was getting this phone for my friend, but she wasn't doing any of the talking, and she kept being distracted by other things, and she kept walking off. So I had to make all these decisions for her. So I said, well, what else have you got? And he said, well, you could use a jacket. I said, okay. So he pulled this jacket off the hanger, and it was like grey jacket that was checked, and just a typical jacket that you'd wear with a suit jacket. Not something I would ever wear, to be honest. Anyway, he said, come and try it on. And I said, I don't understand. How can a washing machine or a tumble dryer or a fridge freezer and a dog or a jacket all be connected to this AI phone when they're all such different things? And he said, oh, well, they're all AI. If you have the actual AI version of an appliance or a dog, this is an AI jacket. And I said, how can a piece of clothing be AI? And he said, it's all threaded through the thread that it's made of. It's all woven through the jacket. So anyway, I went over and I put this jacket on because I was going to test it for my friend. And I remember sensing and feeling EMFs from the jacket. And I've explained to you before in several videos that I'm EMF sensitive, especially with cars and vehicles. So I could feel EMFs from the jacket, the same familiar feeling. And I was like, oh, take it off. So I personally could have nothing to do with this AI system and this AI operating system phone thing connecting to a dog or an appliance or a jacket. I couldn't have anything to do with it. So I was turning to my friend, asking her, which do you want? Do you want the dog, you know, the tumble dryer or the jacket? And she was so distracted that I had to make the decision for her. And then I looked at him and I said, is there nothing else? And then he just looked at me and his eyes went black. And he said, well, I suppose I could come home with you. And I remember thinking, oh my goodness, the shopkeeper's AI as well. So it's a bit of a nightmare at that point because it was really scary. That's when I woke up and I thought, oh my goodness, I've had another AI dream. So yeah, I need to analyze this more. But to me, what was standing out was I didn't want anything to do with it, but I said yes to helping my friend. But she was distracted, so I was doing this for her. So I'd been pushed into it, and it wasn't something I wanted. So that's something I would need to analyze and look at. The dog had red hair, the same color as me. That's a bit of something I need to look at and work out. Well, okay, what does that mean? I'm getting lots of information here about the whole AI subject. And to be honest with you, it's not really a subject I wanted to touch or even intended to touch. It's not something I've particularly wanted to talk about necessarily. Got lots of other things I want to focus on, but this information is coming through. Yes, the 9 have discussed this before, especially in the books, but more leaning towards what AI is and more leaning towards this explanation of the positive side of things. I haven't really wanted to talk about the darker side of AI, but obviously I've discussed it a bit, but not much. So yeah, this dog is the same color as me. So there's some connection. So am I supposed to be talking about this more? I think, well, yes, more than likely. It's something that's coming to me. So I'm open to what is coming. I'm in communication with the 9 about this now. But also the other thing I'm thinking of is appliances in your kitchen. A dog is an animal that would be part of your family. A jacket, which is clothing you're wearing, and then the actual cashier, the assistant himself was an AI. So it's like it was everywhere. It's in the kitchen. It's running around as family member. It's in the shop. It's in the clothes. So what would that mean? Why would there be AI in everything? That's another aspect of the dream I would need to analyze. So I haven't gone into deep analysis with this. I just wanted to present the dream. What I did find is when I spoke about the recent AI dream with the little android boy, I couldn't believe how many responses I received, inundated with so many comments on social media, but emails as well. And I have read them all. So if you've sent me an email regarding that AI android dream, I have read it. I know I haven't replied to all of you because I've got so many emails, but I have read them all and they're so insightful. So if you want to continue to email in and let me know what you think of this latest dream, please do. Even if I can't reply, I absolutely promise you I'm reading all of them. Even if I have to sit there, you know, all day, I'm reading them all. And wonderful, insightful information and people telling me about other people who I've never heard of that are talking about these things that are related to the dream and some science fiction films and books. And I was sent so much information about the AI android dream. So looking at this particular dream, And the fact that I didn't even know that the shopkeeper was part of it. I didn't know he was AI. I thought he was human. So that's another thing. It took me a while before I realized he was AI as well. So I feel that when this comes into our reality, or obviously it's in our reality now, otherwise I wouldn't be getting this information. Just like I was saying in the last dream, it's difficult to know when you have a dream, when you wake up, as to whether what you're seeing, what you've just witnessed in your dream, is metaphor or if it's literal. So that's something you have to work out in your empathy and your intuition. And I think with this whole sort of AI science fiction subject, that's all fiction, all in the novel, science fiction, wonderful genre, dreams, etc., etc. We need to say these things so that they're presented on any transcript that comes out from this video. So we like saying words like science fiction and fantasy fiction and novels and fiction. So yes, so what I'm saying here is, I feel when this comes into our reality, or yes, it's in our reality, but it's not in your face like it was in the dream. When it comes in, will we know? How do we know what is AI generated, whether it's a cyber image on a screen or a television, or whether it's in our waking life when we're communicating with someone, depending on how far this goes, how far into the future this goes, will we know? I've always felt that we would know, because one thing that was a dead giveaway was the jacket was giving off EMFs. So I could sense it straight away, but I only felt that when I put the jacket on. But then the jacket itself may not necessarily be a metaphor for clothing. It may be a metaphor for something you put on, like a skin, or, you know, some kind of AI generated suit. Or it could also be a metaphor for your own body and your own person. And we are looking at Juice. Have they already got jackets on, if you know what I mean? So there's lots of layered metaphors there. But in the dream, I didn't realize it was AI until I put the jacket on, but I could sense the EMFs. And as soon as he pointed out the dog, I realized, I hadn't noticed it before, but then I did notice, oh, that dog doesn't give off a normal canine dog energy. It's more like a dog you'd see in a film rather than a dog you would stand next to in a house. It had a different energy. And the same with the shopkeeper. I didn't realize, but I wasn't paying attention. I was busy asking about the phone and the AI system. He kept talking about, you have to have an AI system. I was too busy focusing on that to realize how robotic he actually was. And it wasn't until he looked at me and his eyes went black and he said, well, you could always take me home with you. And I realized, oh, he's just like the appliance, the dog, and the jacket. So I honestly, truly believe that if you are empathic and focused and intuitive and aware and energetically sensitive, you will be able to know the difference between AI, whether it's generated online or on a screen or however it may be, or whether it's in your actual waking, walking life, depending on how far this goes into the future and when and how it presents, as there's multiple different probabilities of how this will play out. So yes, I do feel that people watching this video, sensitive, energetically aware, been on a spiritual path for X amount of years, or even if those individuals have just woken up to spirituality since 2020, they've been able to fine-tune their energy by being able to tell what's false and what's not false, what's misinformation and what's true. But what I do feel is, coming from this dream, what I do feel is, will the average everyday person be able to tell the difference? And will they even really care whether they can tell the difference or not, if the particular system, the AI, is presented and it actually helps them with their life, will they even mind? They may actually think it's a really, really good thing. However, I also think that there's more to it than that. If there is a flooding of confusion placed into the reality of an individual or the collective of humanity, where they can't tell the difference between an actual organic reality or a cyber reality, that in itself could be hijacked by one then having to prove that you are actually human or not. So lots to think about. I'm just presenting the dream. It was last night. I haven't had time to do full analysis. I've done a gentle analysis. I will be speaking to the 9 more about this. I'm bringing forward more information. I'm loving reading your emails and your comments. They're extremely helpful and helping me to sort of place what all this means and why I have had dreams like this in the last, week consecutively, having not dreamt about robots and androids for, well, ever. I don't think I've ever had that in my dream that I can think of. And all of a sudden, in the space of a week, I've had 2 AI dreams. Really interesting. I'm not afraid of it at all because, well, okay, that might be a bit of a naive statement. Obviously, there are things within this to be fearful of because they are used as a control tool. The reason why the fear isn't there, there's no fear in the dream because the dream is about looking at all the different things, analyzing the landscape within the dream and working out what each thing potentially represents. The reason why there's also no fear in me, whilst I'm aware that there's something to be fearful of, I don't want to manifest that by being in the fear. But the main reason why I'm not is I see the new Earth reality and where that leads to. And I spoke about that before, about this Star Trek type future, which is much further into the future with seeds planted now. That was something a few people didn't quite understand, especially if you haven't watched Star Trek, or even if you have watched Star Trek. Some people were saying, what do you mean by Star Trek future? I don't want a Star Trek future, Magenta. So what I'm saying is, when I say Star Trek future, I don't mean big wars in space and everyone gets on the Enterprise and starts, living the life that Kirk and Picard live in Star Trek. That's not what I mean. What I meant by that was a advanced technology future that is beneficial to humanity, positive, and in harmony with a awakened humanity. Now, I tried to talk about this positive AI, and the 9 have said to me, since I've been speaking to them, that I shouldn't really call it that. I should not refer to it as that because it's not AI in the same way. And to actually use the same term to explain something that is so vastly different, it's going to cause confusion if people aren't catching on to what I'm saying. And most people do that watch my videos, but some don't and they get confused. So I'm trying to be as clear as possible. So the AI in my dream, the jacket, the shopkeeper, the dog, the appliances he's talking about, that's not what I see into the New Earth trajectory. That is more like an environmental structure that didn't grow organically, but was created or was discovered by genius minds. And it's very difficult to say, but it's more like a plasma technology. It's more like an advanced technology system. What did the 9 say? Something like advanced intelligent cyber system, something like that. Crystalline, a crystalline advanced intelligence. It isn't the same. And I will have to obviously talk about this more to really clarify. And I want to bring the 9 forward with this. They have discussed this before in Infinite Helix and the Emerald Flame, and also in the Diamond Codex and the Quartz Key. So both of those have been touched on by the 9. Obviously, with me having these AI dreams, I'm being shown, because in the dream you empathically feel. I can see very, very clearly the difference between this AI and that one. And it's like saying, when I first mentioned crystalline, how the DNA is transforming from carbon-based to crystalline-based, or rather carbon-based to silicate or silicon-based. And a few people were saying, well, what do you mean by silicon or silicate? Because you can have that in, well, they mentioned something that silicon can be in, actually the silicon that we know to use in engineering or wherever. And I asked the 9, and they said it's so vastly different. It's not the same silicon that you can have in shampoos or cleaning fluid or whatever it is that has it in. I really don't know where silicon is to be found. Yes, I think there's silicons in shampoo and harsh chemicals, that sort of thing. And it's nothing like it, absolutely nothing like it. It is a living crystalline structure. The living crystalline structure is within us as our DNA transforms. So what I'm talking about as an intelligence interface system, it's almost like a crystalline advanced DNA that lives outside the body and is placed into things and objects to allow the empathic activated individual holding a high light body frequency to interface with the environment around them. And if you remember the Avatar film, that's what they do. You know, the very first one, and it's in the second one as well, but the first one where they talk about Awa, and you see that lovely tree of light. It's far more like that. It's like a system, but in Avatar, clearly that has, I presume, grown organically with the planet. What I'm seeing is something that is, yes, it's partly organic, but it is also engineered by geniuses with open hearts and good minds and service to others polarization. And it's way in the future, but it evolves from seeds that are also seeding this darker AI. The same seeds seed the 2, because the seeds bifurcate into these 2 realities and eventually trifurcate into 3 realities, as I've spoken about before. So that was my latest dream, another AI dream. And yes, I'd love to receive your correspondence about it. So I can't guarantee to reply when there are so many emails, but I promise you I'm reading them all. And I am looking at the links that you're sending me as well. And I'm finding some of your emails so fascinating. So I just want to say thank you for sending them in and giving me your thoughts and your opinions, because as I said before, this is a collective journey, and it is a collective movement, and it's something that we're all going through together at the same time. So I hope you're finding these dreams insightful at the moment. I still need to analyze more, and I'm very grateful to you for your help in doing that. And I will be speaking to you again soon. Bye.